Hello, everyone. Apologies for the slight delay here. Some technical issues on my side. I hope all are joining us. Can you all can hear me? Yes, wonderful. Well, thank you all for joining us. Appreciate so many familiar faces and some new faces joining us on the call. Um, there, of course, is a lot on our agenda for today. But I do want to again thank you all for your continued support and connection through this avenue. And I do want to mention that we are wanting to reform this in modest way, but we want to make sure that we have time here for not only your questions, but any other sort of events or activities that you all would like to promote within the context of this conversation as well. And so we hope to be able to reserve some time at the end for your questions, comments, and of course, those announcements as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Today, we will be, of course, giving you all updates as, of course, things continue to change around the federal landscape and support for, or lack thereof, I should say, for immigrants at the federal level. And then we'll talk a bit more about what we're seeing in terms of our walk-ins, as well as needs that we have and ways to get engaged. And that part of that is through our upcoming events and other opportunities. And we'll shout out some community partnerships before again turning it over to you all. So we want to lead off by discussing some of the updates because the news has coming in bunches. So I know it's somewhat hard to track. That is, of course, by design. So we want to lay that out here for you all on this timeline, which really begins on January 20th with the issuing of executive orders post inauguration, and of course the central one there is the pausing of refugee resettlement, which was supposed to happen for 90 days, and it was really at that time we had almost 420 individuals who are still within that 90-day window, that 90-day resettlement period, who would still be entitled, of course, to federal financial assistance and support. Many of those folks were in temporary housing and hotels and other temporary housing. And of course, we're at that point still available to receive funding. And it wasn't until the stop work order from the Department of State on the 24th of January that funding became suddenly unavailable to them. Now, it was really at that point that we had to, make our decision and plea around committing to reinstating that funding through private donations and ask the community for support and launching our campaign, keeping our promise to ensure that there was not a drop off in support for those newly arrived individuals. It was on the 27th that OMB issued its letter creating this sort of general freeze for federal funding, which impact our ability to draw down funds from non-resettlement related programs, of which we have many. And that, of course, created some financial chaos across, not just for us, but across the country, and I'm sure many of your organizations as well. And that really, that instability and uncertainty, was really compounding what we had seen with the cessation of refugee resettlement. And so that led to our need to engage in furloughs here at the organization, and not just here in St. Louis, but of course across the state at our offices. And that really culminated then, I can say, all these activities really culminated last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, with the termination of federal resettlement contracts with national agencies. We are a part of USCRI, which is the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants. But if you go to the next slide, it is more than just the network that we are connected to, USCRI. There are 9 other voluntary agencies that have federal contracts for resettlement, and all of them received termination notices on the 26th. So what does that mean? It really means that for the first time in 45 years, there is not a refugee resettlement system in the United States. There is no, these contracts with these organizations is the mechanism for resettlement. Of course, State Department admits, but is through these contracts that folks arrive in local communities and are given their stipend and receive assistance in resettlement. And so without this mechanism, it is not even possible. So the executive order that was issued was sort of a temporary, shutting down of the program. And it really just limited arrivals coming in. But with the termination of these contracts, it really eliminates the mechanism by which anybody gets to a local community like St. Louis. And so for resettlement to resume, it's greater than just lifting the executive order now. When the executive order is lifted, or when the review occurs and there's approval for continued resettlement, there now needs to be a brand new system that's created in order for folks to make it to the local level and arrive in this country and in our city. So this means that there's a lot of work on the federal side that has to be done if they do intend to engage in resettlement. And it's sort of a odd ray of hope that another executive order leads us to believe that they do have an intent to engage in resettlement in some form. And that was the executive order around resettling white Afrikaners from South Africa through the resettlement program. And so, of course, if there's that intent, there will need to be a reconstruction of this program. We don't know what that looks like. We don't know if we will have a chance as an organization or even as a region to raise our hand and say that we would like to engage with this work and directly be contracted for the service, or if this will be led to, or if they'll replace those previous organizations that had those contracts with other organizations, or if they've engaged with resettlement directly through the states. We don't know. But rest assured that as we have more clarity on what resettlement 2.0 might look like, that we will be, of course, sharing out and asking for your voice to be raised. And we'll share with you, of course, our thoughts on the plans as they exist when they exist. But really, we wanted to make sure that you were up to speed on this, because this news, I think, did get buried. With so much coming out, that's easy to have happen. But we wanted to really draw this community's attention to the fact that there is not a mechanism for refugee resettlement in the United States at this point. And know that, again, we do anticipate getting additional news about what the next version of this might look like. There are still, of course, opportunities for us to share the work that we do with resettlement and its impact. And one of the ways in which we've been able to do that was in this recent piece by the New York Times that featured St. Louis and our efforts as a region to welcome immigrants. This is the work of, I'm going to say, everybody on this call, right? And this is recognition of the work that we all have engaged in as a community. And really, I think, shines a light on the possibility that exists when we welcome immigrants, and the positive net impact that we have seen on our region and our region's commitment to welcoming immigrants. And it also very clearly outlines the threats to our regional strategy, our civic strategy around attraction. And so if you haven't already, please take a look at this. I think it does a great job articulating the conditions here in our region, and a lot of the factors at play that we're navigating now as a community. So there's a lot here. And again, part of how we're trying to reform this is pausing more frequently for questions, as we're wrapping up these big ideas in this timeline. I know a lot of this is somewhat old hat for some of you here, but there might be additional questions that you all have. So just wanted to kind of pause here and see if any clarity or any more understanding that we can provide.
I always like to ask crystal ball questions. So if you had a crystal ball, do you have any sense? Is there any indication on time frame, timeline? People are talking towards this, you're hearing things towards that. Anything at all as far as the timing of when there may be a mechanism in place?
No. Really have not heard news around this. We know that there have been that ORR has reached out to the Missouri Office of Refugee Administration asking for some information, and so we know that there will be. ORR is working on this, but in terms of what a timeline might look like for the implementation of a new process, we don't know. The 90-day order that existed when the executive order was established, pausing resettlement, said that there needed to be a report issued. That's a joint report from DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and the State Department, kind of outlining the program. That due date would be around the 21st of April. And so really we were kind of expecting that the report then might lead us to have an understanding of what that might look like. But there's no guarantee of that. And frankly, given this termination of these contracts, we don't know if that's even if that order still applies necessarily, given the fact that there's not a program to review at this point. So we don't have any sort of clarity on timeline, but we know that there is work towards what this might look like eventually and in the end.
Hey, Blake, real
Thanks.
quick and follow up to Martha's question. Have you talked to other resettlement agencies and how they're thinking about the next 20 to 30 days and beyond?
We've been in contact with other agencies within the state and within the network, within the USCRI network, about this. And every organization is in a different sort of position. For those who are unaware, the International Institute is unique amongst a lot of resettlement agencies in the fact that we operate a wide variety of programs that go beyond just resettlement. There are in fact a great many resettlement agencies that just engage in resettlement, just that 90 days of service post arrival. And so for those, obviously this pause in the program and now the decertifying these contracts really creates a lot more uncertainty than even they faced with the initial executive order. We know that many are intending to close or at least furlough the entirety of their staff until the time that there is more clarity on this. So there's a myriad responses to this, and it really comes down to the financial standing of any organization to continue, and of course its composition is really impacting those plans to weather this.
There's a question in the chat.
Oh, question in the chat. All right. There seems to be, George, hi George, seems to be a debate around the topic of who qualifies as a refugee. Observed that to be the case? If so, where does the debate currently stand? There is always debate about who should qualify to be a refugee, but the qualifications in terms of the bar that you must hit to be determined as a refugee, there's no debate about that. That is an international standard that has been agreed upon through the charter with the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, which is the International Refugee Resettlement System, and the standard there. It's a person who's fleeing persecution or the well-founded fear of persecution based on their membership in a particular group, whether that is religious or cultural or ethnic or political. There are many sort of qualifying groups that would land under this, but what the president and the country gets to do is determine which countries that will qualify for this year's resettlement program. And so what we've seen in terms of these suggestions are how this administration wants to apply this. And again, with that reference to white Afrikaners from South Africa being admitted under this program, they don't necessarily fit that international definition quite so, right? So it wouldn't be through the United Nations system that they'd be resettled, but maybe the administration is thinking of another mechanism that we would have to admit folks like parole, right? But there's always a debate about which people from which countries or refugee circumstances might qualify in any given year for resettlement. However, that definition of who is a refugee really remains constant. Catherine asks, were these termination of contracts lawful? Are there any legal challenges occurring? To my knowledge, there's not any legal challenges to the termination of the contracts themselves, because the letter terminating them referenced a clause that exists in our contract, or in USCRI's contract with the federal government. Though I can say that what they are examining at the VOLAG level, at the 10 agencies that have seen their contract decertified, are convening around the legality of it now, though there's not an immediate presumption that there was anything illegal about these terminations. So we're going to have more opportunities throughout for questions, but I want to kick it over to Jonathan, who can give us or pardon me, Asmira first, and then Jonathan talk about our refugee arrivals and then our walk-ins. Oh, Asmira, you're on mute.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. As Blake says, since January 20th, we didn't see any new arrivals. Even people who has been scheduled to arrive in February, in March, has been removed from our fight list. As you can see, the number for November and December and January, all together, we did have like a 491 people that we resettled. People who came since November, they still in resettlement, and we are working with them to meet their goals and our goals. Our prediction, I don't know what to say, as all you heard that our resettlement program doesn't exist anymore. And we did predict to get 1,920 people. Apparently, it won't happen for now. So we don't know what future will predict, and are we going to get any arrivals or not. We are trying to work with all people who came, and as all you know, like we have a lot of difficult situation to explain people why they cannot bring their family here and why people has been removed from flying to United States. So it is very difficult for us and challenging for us, and especially difficult and challenges for all clients, because like picture of America and resettlement program in the world is totally different that now like people facing with. So everybody thought that if they register as a refugee, they have rights to come here, but now you have to explain why they cannot. So let's hope for the best, and maybe in the future we will have a resettlement program again.
Thank you, Asmira. I don't know, is Jonathan on the call? Wonderful.
Yes, Blake, I am. All right. So good afternoon, folks. My name is Jonathan. I'm an intake coordinator. I'm going to talk to you briefly about our walk-in services update. And as Blake mentioned, these are opted for programs outside of our resettlement program. So these are things like matching grants, RSS, or for individuals who came in through TPS programs like the Cuban Haitian Humanitarian Program or Special Immigrant Visa for Afghans and Iraqis. So in December, we saw a good amount. We saw 3 Congolese individuals, 3 Tanzanian, 2 Venezuelans, 1 Somali individual, 5 Cubans, and 6 Haitians, for a total of 14 cases, 20 individuals, and around an average case size of 1.4. January was quite busy, but again, around mid-January, that's when the new administration took over. That's when the executive orders hit. And that's why you see but like with that in mind, we still try to get in everybody we could around that time, because we kind of figured there was going to be some sort of stoppage in place. So in January, we saw 9 Afghans, 4 Syrians, 2 Ethiopians, 14 Cubans, which is a new record in 1 month, and 1 Haitian for 15 cases, 30 individuals with an average case size of 2 per case. Now, February, by the time that this February metric started, this is when the TPS programs were canceled. This is when our refugees resettlement program was halted. So anybody that came in for walk-in services are either secondary migrant, which means they were resettled in a different state first and then moved here to St. Louis for one reason or the other. So, or even refugees who come in from one state, who would get resettled in one state and then move here looking for services such as job services, helping to find you a job, or cash assistance like RCA. So for February, I saw 1 Afghan, 2 Eritrean, 1 Venezuelan, and 6 Cubans. For 7 cases, 10 individuals with an average case size of 1.4. Like I said, with that stop order in place, a lot of our clients who are refugees, we didn't see as many. A lot of people are also quite afraid. You know, these executive orders have a lot of legal action, but they also provide this sense of fear in a lot of our clientele. A lot of our clientele don't really know what the next step is for them. They're afraid of ICE. They're afraid of like what's going to happen to them in the future. And because of that, you see a lot of people afraid to even reach out for help. And in my experience so far, that's been a big reason why we see these lower numbers. But especially in the last few weeks, I've seen maybe a little bit of hope, because just in the last 2 weeks, I've seen 12 Afghan individuals and 2 Cubans. Just today, I saw another 2 Afghan individuals. I have more Cuban individuals lined up for this week as well. So we saw 12 Afghans, 2 Cubans, already 5 cases, and already 4 more individuals than total I saw last month. The average case size so far is 2.8, but I'm going to tell you that by this time next month, this numbers for March is going to be increasing quite a lot, because clients are slowly becoming less afraid. You know, you have that little bit of hope, and we are getting busier in terms of walk-ins. Like, I can show you my calendar. We got a lot lined up for our walk-in services. It's just a matter of making sure that we're able to help them. But that's
That's
everything I
great.
have. Thank you.
That's great, Jonathan. Thank you so much. I think that you know, understanding these trends is important. I mean, these are folks that are new to the region generally, or seeking services from us. Some of them could have been folks that we served in years past who have been disconnected and are now coming back, but predominantly folks are new arrivals, and we do expect to continue to see new arrivals coming in through due to the fact that we are continuing to operate our Latino outreach and Afghan support programs. So I want to go ahead and kick it over to Carlos to talk a bit more about those.
Hello, everybody. Just wanted to follow up and tell you about some of the things that we're doing. Obviously, as I mentioned in the past, we're pivoting to try to recruit Hispanic Americans, and we are actually also opening it to Asian Americans as well. And so I've been going to high unemployment rate cities that have high Hispanic populations. So I visited McAllen, Texas, Los Angeles, and Long Beach, California last month. This month, I will be participating in the Hispanic Chamber Job Fair here in St. Louis, with the idea that I know that they're combining with the Asian Chamber. And so all these people have family. And so trying to, I guess, getting the best vocal piece to promote St. Louis are those of us already living in St. Louis. So I'm hoping to have fellow St. Louisans reach out to their family members and tell them there's an opportunity to help find jobs in a fairly affordable economic living situation. And in the future, you know, and actually, I'm also going to go to the United States Hispanic Chamber Legislative Summit, where I'll have the opportunity to see over 100 Hispanic Chamber presidents at this event, to be able to get the word out to them as well. Hopefully learn a little bit more about any job fairs or community fairs they have going on, so I could attend those. And so I do know that I'm looking at Chicago and Corpus Christi, Texas in April, but things happen so fast that I'm always just ready to go and try to plan in advance as best I can. So with that, that's what I'm doing with the Latino outreach. I also have the good nature, good ability to be able to supervise the Afghan support program. And we have hired a new director for Afghan outreach, Hamdullah Hamdard, and he was formerly working with us, a very successful business owner and successful in his own right. But he's a journalist, director, and media innovator with 16 years of experience dedicated to crafting stories that inspire, connect, and create lasting impact. With the diverse background spanning journalism, filmmaking, and photography, he's worked across corporate, nonprofit, and community development sectors, using media as a tool for change. And as the founder of Ocean Pictures, he led with creativity, innovation, and commitment to storytelling that empowers both businesses and developing communities. And now he'll be using his talents to help us recruit more Afghan people to the region. So with that, I'll turn it over to Hamdullah.
Hello, everyone. It's such an honor to be on this call. Myself was researched through the International Institute and now working on a leadership role here at the International Institute. Feels so good and such an honor. So yeah, my name is Hamdullah Hamdard. I came to United States in 2021 and now I'm working for the Afghan Support Program. There are a couple of stuff that I need to change with the Afghan Support Program. You will hear more from me in next month, but my overall goal for 2025 is monetizing the community center and Chamber of Commerce. Why I'm thinking about monetizing them, because I strongly think that after they should not rely on people, they have to be self-sufficient. So I'm looking to ways and methods like how I should enable them to make their own incomes and pay their bills. They should not wait for other people to pay their bills and rent. The other thing is, as my bigger part of my job is recruiting Afghans. So I will be traveling to Virginia this month because there are so many gatherings happening in Virginia. Because as you know, it's Eid celebration, and also meantime we are having our New Year, which is March 21st. So it's not happening exactly March 21st or March 30th, the Eid. They're always celebrating like in different days. So I'm targeting Virginia, and my goal for this year is 300 people to recruit from across the United States. Upcoming events, we have the Afghan Entrepreneurship Grant, which will be announced by 14. This is round 6. Before it was $15,000 per person, and we had total 10 grants, but now we have 10 grants still, but the amount is increased. We have $20,000 per person, which will be distributed through 1 year. This year, luckily the winner is a lady who came to United States recently, and she will be opening her clothing store soon in St. Louis. March 13th, which is tomorrow, we will be showing the Gateway to a New Life movie at Amstel University, but we are also trying to do a partnership with them. So next month and May, they will be also working on our Afghan Journal, which is the magazine, as you know. We would like to use their talents and expertise of their mentors and instructors, how we can improve the quality of the Afghan Journal. So they will be working on different stories. They will be working on the structure of the Afghan Journal. Also, we are working on the websites of the community center and Chamber of Commerce because it's so much outdated and there's nothing really, I would say, useful that the community can use. So we are planning a lot of stuff for both websites, and also Amstel University will also work closely with us to promote and develop our website. The next thing that we think is so much necessary is having native languages that needs to be taught to the kids. So we are planning Passion and Dairy classes soon in the Afghan Community Center, following by the Quran and also driving classes, which will start soon at the Afghan Community Center. Yeah, that's all from my side. If you have any question, please let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Hamdullah, and thank you so much for your leadership of this program. We're very excited to enter a new phase with this, and under your leadership, I'm very confident that we can reach these goals and support these folks and attract more to our community. Thank you. With that, I'd like to,
A question about the movie. There's a question about the movie tomorrow. Where is it? The time? Is it open to the community?
Sorry, I'm using my phone and my computer at the same time. There are some technical problems. I can double check with that with my colleague, and I will send you the date and time and also the exact location.
great. So with that, I'll ask David to provide an update on our campaign, our Keeping Our Promise campaign. David.
Great, thank you, Blake. With excuse me, with these announcements coming on the from the federal level, we launched our Keeping Our Promise campaign earlier this year. We believe, as Blake said, that we have made a commitment to these new arrivals, and so we will do whatever it takes to make sure that we have the resources available to provide those programs and services. And so our outreach to the community has been met very positively. We have over $90,000 in online donations. Our Keeping Our Promise campaign, has received over 500 donations, including quite a few new donors. We've had over 1,000 individuals donate to us already this year. For some context, we had 1,300 donors all of last year. In addition to the online donations, we have been reaching out to individual donors, major donors, as well as foundations, corporate organizations, to ask for their partnership so that we can continue to welcome new arrivals to our community. We have also been able to make some great progress in terms of our housing. That is one of the things that we have really been focused on, our number one need, frankly, when it comes to new arrivals, finding affordable, safe housing. And so the team here has done a phenomenal job of moving folks from temporary housing, mostly hotels, to permanent housing that can accommodate them and their families. Another outreach or another encouraging thing is that we have seen a lot of organizations and individuals want to do third-party fundraisers for us. This includes everything from concerts to poetry readings we have coming up, to literal magic shows. And these have been phenomenal. The outpouring from people in the community wanting to do something, however little, to make a difference has been amazing. And we have a number of opportunities still to come between now and May. So highly encourage folks, if you're interested in getting involved, if you've made a donation but want to do more, there's lots of opportunities for you. Going to the next slide, Casey, if we can look at specific ways that you can support. I know many of you have seen this in the past. Monetary donations are still essential. Giving unrestricted funds allows us flexibility to meet new and emerging needs. And as I think you heard from Blake, there are things that we're not sure of in terms of timeline and in terms of money being released. And so for us, being able to build up our reserves, building up our donations, that's essential. We know that we're going to need that, and that'll help us navigate whatever things come down from the federal government. Housing, we talked a little bit about that. Again, if you have a connection to affordable housing, that is something that we are still going to need. I know a number of organizations, individuals, churches have done donation drives to see a list of items, the most needed donated items. You can click on the link there, or you can contact Kelly. We'd be happy to talk to you about starting a donation drive. And then finally, volunteering. I will say that a happy problem is we have more volunteers and opportunities at this time. So I appreciate everyone's patience, as people do want to volunteer, and we just need to make sure that a volunteer opportunity is meaningful for you, for our clients, and for the organization. And so Kelly, Blake, and I are continuing to work to identify our number one priorities in terms of volunteering, and then kind of take it from there. So again, if you want to volunteer and we don't have something for you just yet, I do ask you to be patient as we continue to build up our volunteer opportunities and see where the needs are as they continue to emerge and shift. Going to the next slide. Again, I mentioned our Keeping Our Promise campaign, and we are still accepting donations for this campaign. We have closed the gap and gotten close to our goal of $500,000. But we hope to hit that, if not by the end of this week, then definitely by the end of this month. In addition to helping close that gap, you can also match your gift. I know a lot of organizations and employers do a matching gift program. For assistance on how to get your gift match, you can contact our donor relations person, Samson Hillary. Our Giving Society, which was launched last year for folks who give $1,000 or more, has been very well received. We already have 50 individuals this year who have given at that level, and that has provided us some great resources to meet the needs of our clients. And as I said, unrestricted financial donations definitely help. We are still, of course, raising money for our programs, education, financial literacy, after school programs. But right now in Q1, for us to get unrestricted financial donations is a huge benefit to us. In-kind donations, I mentioned a complete list is available on our website, but laundry detergent, diapers, grocery gift cards are really essential. Hygiene items, toiletries, those are always needed as well. But if you're needing some ideas, please check out our website in addition to the items here. And I think that is my last slide, Casey. Oh, sorry. One more. So we mentioned gift cards. You could utilize these QR codes on the screen to visit these vendors and buy a gift card. Target and Walmart are places that we just listed because they're throughout St. Louis and convenient to our clients. There's a Target on Grand not too far from our office, so that is very helpful. But again, Visa gift cards are also helpful. Volunteers, housing setup is one that we still need. I will say that there is a background check for those that are essential. Home visits, transportation, so picking folks up, and then finally, we also need help with some of our with our food pantry, for example, with our bazaar. Those don't require background checks. So if you're thinking like, hey, I just want to sign up myself or a group, you can go to our website in the volunteer section and see a complete listing of volunteers, as well as times, what's required, etc. A little bit more about some of the volunteer opportunities we have. Yes, was there a
David,
question?
Kelly, can I just jump in for a quick second?
Yeah.
That'd be great. David mentioned some of our volunteer opportunities, and right now, our food pantry is looking good. So most of our volunteer opportunities for that has been filled up, excuse me. And then, but the urgent sort of needs that we still are having trouble with, and I think it's because it's a hard one, but the housing setup, the first three needs on this slide all require background checks, but they are the hardest ones that we're having a hard time finding people to do. So the housing setup is a physical job. Driving new Americans can also be taxing or physical. If you like to drive your car, this would be a great one for volunteers to do. And then the home visits, neighborhood orientation. We have actually not posted that volunteer opportunity yet because we're still working out the details, but the first two and the third one, administrative help, are the three urgent needs that we don't have a lot of people signing up for. Administrative help really just means working on a computer and inputting data. So if you, it also means copying and working with a fax machine. So if you love technology in that regard, there's always opportunities for administrative support and at the International Institute. So urgent needs really would be, I mean, I say housing setup, but for right now, this week, the last 3 families are moving into their homes. So, you know, you only have 1 more week left to do this great opportunity.
Thanks, Kelly. I apologize. I know that you're going to cover these next couple of slides. So I'll just turn it over to you at this point.
Thank you. So ongoing volunteer opportunities. The thing to note about our volunteer program right now is that we are using our online system, and it's very easy. You go to our website, you say get involved, you click on the buttons that say volunteer, and it takes you to a landing page where all of our opportunities are there. Therefore, every day that's changing. So you can check daily, you can check weekly, whatever your time is able. We have volunteer opportunities changing all the time. A few of them that are ongoing that we still need help for would be that intakes and benefits support. That would be the administrative work. Bus training, that's always one that needs volunteers. And then we recently changed the job interview practice. That used to be on Fridays. It is now happening on Thursdays at 12:30. So that is an ongoing volunteer opportunity. I believe they need 10 to 15 people every time they do it. So Thursdays at 12:30, if you're free to help with interviews, that would be wonderful. If you have any questions or problems with our sign-up system, please reach out to me. Many people on the team know that technology is not my favorite resource, but I will be willing to help you. I think I've finally figured out how to work Golden. That's the platform we're using for volunteers. So it's very easy. Check out our website. That's where you're going to see ongoing and episodic events. And the website is really nice too, because if the opportunity needs a background check, it actually will not let you sign up if you're not already in the system. So if you're worried about that, then let me know and we can figure that out. Next slide. Oh my gosh, we're so thankful for all of the third-party support. We've had so many things happening, like David mentioned. I think there were over 17 different activities happening. So we're going to showcase a few of them. But if you would like to do a third-party support, please reach out to David. He can get you guys going. Upcoming events, these are things that are going to benefit the International Institute, and we are excited to help or spread the word. 314, So St. Louis. So this is an extension of our Festival of Nations. So we're having a performance showcase. This is happening, 314 is Friday night. So if you're looking for something to do on Friday night, please go to the Melvin Theater at 6 o'clock. We have day 1, which is the slides that is here on the picture that is on the slide, excuse me. That is being shown at High Point Theater. Doors open at 3:30. This is a free screening with a suggested donation. This is in partnership with Cinema St. Louis, Race for Refugees, and the Tao Lee Associates. So if you haven't seen day 1, it's a really great film following 4 to 5 students as they make their first day here in St. Louis. The Race for Refugees is also in the film. So if those of you who like running, it's the whole part of that is really cool. The movie is really cool. So go see it if you haven't seen it. If you have seen it but know that you think it's a great movie, tell somebody else to go see it. People like recommendations, right? And then you'll notice we have some global music nights happening 3/21 and 4/18. So spread the word about those, promoting Festival of Nations and our global scene. And then 5/10, so May 10th, Bobby Stevens Poetry and Music at the Heavy Anchor. More details to come, but you got lots of opportunities to talk about refugees and immigrants and support the work that we're all doing. So thank you, third-party support fundraisers. They've been amazing. Last month I promoted this, but they changed the date because of snow. We had a snow flurry or ice or things like that. So if you are wanting to take a trip to Jefferson City, please join members of community going to Jefferson City on Tuesday, March 25th, Hispanic Capital Day. This is a great time to let our legislators and federal government wonderful agents, there's probably some other name for them, I'm just blanking. If you want to be an advocate, please go and support our work. Please go and support immigrants and refugees in St. Louis. I'm sure there's no, I'm sure Hispanic Capital Day will tell you what that you need to say. You don't need to be nervous. It's just a chance to talk to people on a one-on-one conversation. We're just educating the people on Capitol Hill that immigrants and refugees are important. So if you haven't done this before, this is a great way to show your support and show our leaders that we care about immigrants and refugees. Blake is up for the next slides.
Happy to. We just want to now just kind of touch on one way that we're trying to get word out to affected communities about their rights in relation to any sort of immigration stops or encounters with ICE. And we want to make sure that everybody in this community is aware of these red cards. And so we've included the QR code here. These are available for download. They are free. And this is a tool that we have been endorsing to use to disseminate and to get into the hands of people. And I think that there was an initial thought that this is really a particular import for the undocumented community and those folks that would be, most obviously subject to deportation. But I think we want to revise the thinking around that. We have seen in raids around the country that documented immigrants are getting caught up in those and being put into deportation proceedings quite often, and especially as the administration continues to debate the legitimacy of statuses that have been used to authorize continued presence in the U.S., particularly temporary protected status and parole. That is worth spreading this information out widely to the community, widely to the immigrant community, because we just don't know what tomorrow will bring in terms of certification or decertification of statuses for people who might today feel very comfortable in their status. So please help us get the word out, and the use of these cards can be very helpful to a lot of folks. So with that, we'll kind of, I think we have a lot going on and just a very little time to kind of get there. So just very quickly, we have our community bazaar coming up on, the next one here is coming up on this Friday. Please share this information, come down and attend, enjoy a meal. We have a lot of community partners who are going to be in this space. And of course, this also coincides with our food distribution as well. So please come down and connect with the community that we are serving and enjoy a nice meal. We also have, of course, our ongoing tax prep services, which is still open for bookings. These are occurring on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and will occur through April 15th. We can help with state and federal filings. And this is, of course, in partnership with our longstanding partners at AARP and VITA, who are assisting with this. And please use the QR code or use the phone number to schedule an appointment. Of course, our food pantry, as I mentioned, will be distributing food in conjunction with Operation Food Search, Latter-day Saints, and Little Angels Foundation. And we do expect to see an increase in this with the news that we received that another pantry here on the south side is closing, which will probably have continued and increased pressure on ours. So we do expect to see a lot of folks utilizing this. And of course, this is open Wednesdays, but it will also coincide this Friday with our bazaar as well.
Sorry,
Yeah,
can I
go
just
right
make a quick announcement about the food pantry?
Mm-hmm.
We are not open for distribution on Wednesdays. We're open for receiving donations on Wednesdays. So that's really important to note that If you have organizations that are interested in donating food, even though we have 3 very strong partners, there's always food items. There are always food items that are not currently being donated. So on Wednesdays, we receive the food, and on Fridays, we distribute the food. So let me know if you would like to do a food donation collection, because I have a list of foods that we rarely see through our 3 partners. Thank you.
And just through the chat, Carlos plugs the fact that we still need Spanish-speaking volunteers for the tax prep services. And this is a volunteer opportunity that's currently listed on our site. So if you know anybody who'd be willing to assist with that, please refer them to our website to sign up.
The other
yeah.
question that Anna asked
Mhm.
about the food pantry closing, it was not disclosed which one. But we were informed that that food pantry served a high population of Hispanics. So we were just told that we may see an influx of people.
I want to go quickly through these community shout outs because I want to make sure that we have a few minutes at least for additional questions. We have many different community partners who are reaching out, asking how they can help, and are generously supporting what we do through their own benefits. Just want to highlight this one, which was a wonderful event that was held by Wayfaring Stranger and Greenfinch Theater and Dive. It was a 2-night concert event, which was just awesome. And we really appreciate their work in raising attention to the issues that our community is facing and immigrants are facing in our community. We also last week had held a magic show here. Christopher Barker and Gateway Magic hosted an amazing evening. We had more than 80 attendees at the event who were treated to a magical evening. Thanks to Christopher and Gateway Magic for reaching out and hosting that event. We really appreciated their effort around that. Of course, we also have the Crookswood United Methodist Church has engaged in donations, pillows galore, as it says, 129 pillows donated, and a monetary donation to support that as well. We're really appreciative of congregational efforts to support our work, both through donations, in-kind support, and monetary. And lastly, of course, as you already heard, the Day One documentary screening, which is taking place this Saturday. I'll be providing some opening remarks, and I believe there is intent to have a panel discussion afterwards as well. And a very special thanks to Tao Associates and Peter Tao himself, as well as Cinema St. Louis, for agreeing to host this as also connected to our Race for Refugees upcoming. Of course, as always, you'll get this slide with more information about how to connect. But we did want to now turn it over for any other community updates that you all have that you'd like to provide, or on other events taking place in this community, or other ways to support.
I'll just say this will be my last time on this call since I am departing as the executive director of the St. Louis Mosaic Project as of this Friday, and Suzanne Sierra is the new executive director, having been promoted from assistant to being the executive director effective Monday, and I'm so pleased and proud for that. But just want to thank all of you for all the work together as I move into my new work as a philanthropic futurist with an organization called Future Good. And my goal will be to help get more money to nonprofits with all sorts of innovative thinking and scenarios and planning, and working with clients that are both foundations, funders, individuals, family offices, and highlighting the needs of our nonprofit community. So it's a great new chapter, but I appreciate all that all of you do, because the International Institute is such a cornerstone for the community.
And thank you, Betsy, for all that you've done for our community over more than the last decade. Mosaic has become really important to the work that we do here at the Institute, but the work that we're doing as a region to attract and retain foreign-born talent to this region. And so, you have built a wonderful organization, and I know Suzanne is a wonderful choice as to replace you in that role and continue this work. And we're so excited that you'll still be in this community, engaged in nonprofit work. I mean, I couldn't be more thrilled about that. But just thank you so much for your partnership over these years. Looking forward to continuing to partner in just a little bit of a different way ongoing. Thank you. Any other announcements?
I'm just gonna put a plug in for our community bazaar happening on Friday. It was so great last month when we saw the representatives from Commerce Bank. Thank you, thank you, thank you for coming. I think you brought 3 or 4 people from the office, but these community bazaars are only as successful as the community is, right? So if you haven't been, I don't know that I've tasted the Puerto Rican food, but I am a foodie and I love all kinds of food, so I'm sure it will be good. If you can't come this Wednesday, please tell somebody else to join us. These are really great moments where we can share community, share in the support of the work that we do, and of course, help a new business in the region. So please come see me. You guys can see the food pantry in action as well. It's Fridays are my favorite days around the agency. So I'll be running around in the cafeteria and the food pantry. Please come visit me. And happy congratulations to Betsy for her new role. Can't wait to see how we can partner together. And Suzanne, I can't wait for you to also continue to be our partner, as I shall say. So thank you, everybody. Lots going on this weekend. Friday, you've got the bazaar, you've got the movie night on Saturday. We've got lots of things to celebrate, lots of people in the community who support us. Thank you.
Any other announcements from our community partners? Well, hearing that, thank you so much for being a part of this. And of course, as always, you'll get these slides. Please share this information widely. Appreciate your attendance here, but we can always extend this impact when we share this information out. So thank you very much for supporting this work and supporting immigrants in this community. Take care, everyone.